Okay, okay. Hello, everybody. Give me, if you can, go ahead and turn your videos on so I can see your beautiful faces. And give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. I guess if you turned your video on, that means you can hear me okay, right? Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So there will be some time today that once we get rolling here, I'll give everybody a moment to do some Q&A and get to talking. Um, but in the meantime, let me just go ahead and rip off some stuff here for you and get everybody up to speed. This is the first ambassadors meeting. Welcome, everybody. It's been a long time coming that we did this, and I know we had some back and forth on the scheduling, so I appreciate seeing anybody here at all because that was kind of last minute shift. So just gratitude from me for you guys making that happen and being present. We got some cool things that we're going to go over today, and there's some details that I want to share with everybody that is it's going to impact the future for everything that we're doing from TIAG to the permaculture design sector, all the way into how we're supporting families with home-based business. And so everything that we're getting into right now is going to make a big impact. And as you know, if you've been to an event and you've seen us talk, or you've just talked one-on-one with me, you know we kind of have a big vision. We have some global impact with what we're trying to achieve here. And what you may not know is that we have been collaborating with other organizations and individuals in a really big way. And because of that, we have been able to open some doors for some opportunity that we did not have previously. And I'll talk just a little bit about what some of that is. I'm not going to share slides or anything on that topic, but I do want to just let you know what's coming down the pipeline. Some really cool things that we're working on. So right off the bat, let me pop into this slide here. I'm going to share my screen. See if I can multitask here. Oh, apparently not. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a definition really quick while I'm working on this on what the ambassadors are. I know that there's some back and forth and discussion on that, so I want to just make sure that everybody's on the same page as far as what that means and explain how that works. Okay, can you see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen right there. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so right off the bat, the first thing that I want you to understand is that we have a wide variety of programs and developing opportunities. This slideshow here that I'm showing you is preliminary. And so this is kind of a sneak peek because we're trying to kick off the collaboration with the Mentors program. And I'll explain more what I mean by that here in a minute. But the material on here, the reason I say it's preliminary is because it may shift. I want your feedback and I want your input so that we can tweak this to suit you and benefit you to the highest capacity that we possibly can so that we have a long-term give and receive cycle here between all of the families that we're supporting and working with. I don't want to just curate something that we're just going to say, here, this is what it is, this is how it's going to be, and it's going to be that way forever, because the ambassador program is built around the TIAG initiative. It's built around the concept of getting people invited and involved and extending the opportunity for you to choose to be the change that you want to see in the world, and extending the opportunity and the invitation for you to step forward in a big way locally in your community and then also independently as an individual. And so we want to support you in every possible way that we can. So I spend much of my time in this area thinking about how we're going to make this work for families in a big way. So just a couple things right off the bat here. We have the collaboration opportunity with Haven Permaculture. We have the affiliate link opportunity, just general uh, typical affiliate link and affiliate program that we offer through Lulu's Garden. So you can just help spread the mission a little bit there. But the mentorship that we offer with the ambassador program is a totally different level. So the ambassador program is really cool. What we're trying to curate with the ambassador program is essentially a walkthrough guide and a family relationship with a few select individuals who really want to grab hold of the vision that we have for the TIAG program and Haven Permaculture and move it into a real world scenario where we're making communities in a big brand new way where self-sufficiency is the core of the movement and freedom reigns and families are independent and we're able to really exist and thrive on a high level. So there's some cool things coming down the pipeline for that. Now whoops, see if I can get it to switch slides for you. The document that I'm showing you here is just a PDF. This is something that I will give to you, and it's going to address these core points. I'm not going to read them all off because we got a lot that I want to talk about. So I'm just going to go kind of quickly through this. But the idea here is that I want to bring clarity to the vision and clarity to the process of what it is to be an ambassador, what it is to be an affiliate, and what it is to collaborate with us, because there's three really big impacts that we're making. Now, as we move through the program and what we're trying to bring to the table, you're going to realize that what we're doing is not financially driven. This is not something that we're trying to make a big bucks on, but it is something that we are helping families make bucks on at the same time as we're funding our vision and our projects. And so this is a lot of behind the scenes movement going on here economically to support you while it supports us. But the goal and what we're trying to achieve is absolutely not about money. We are really trying to create the world that we want to see for our families and materialize that in a real way that our kids and your kids and everybody's kids down the line when we're long gone can benefit from and have this long-term generational effect. So just a quick recap here on what it is. The Lulu's Garden affiliate program, if you haven't already read the screen, is really just about getting influencers and bloggers and freelancers to spread awareness of what we're doing. And you'll get a 10% kickback for how that works. And so as an ambassador, you have access to that. If you already enrolled with the Lulu's Garden ambassador program on the main page, I'll show you where that is if you haven't. Then you already have your own link and your coupon code. And that's basically what that is. Now, the TIAG Ambassador Program is a lot more about the mentorship piece. And so this meeting we're doing right now, should you choose to accept it, we invite you to be involved with us on a bi-weekly and a monthly webinar. Now, the monthly webinars are going to be trainings specifically for our ambassador families because we want you to basically pioneer this in your community. We want you to have a self-sufficient property. We want you to have a closed loop system around that property for your food, water, shelter, and surplus. And then we want to help you produce a surplus, and we'll offer that back through our network through Lulu's Garden. And so you're your own independent business. And as long as we can affiliate ourselves with what you're doing, as long as we feel like it checks off the boxes, there's a little bit of a qualifier there, we'll offer it back through the network. And so now we're able to give you a whole nother level of income for your family, and you're totally autonomous. You're totally your own business. We're just helping out by spreading the word in return. So basically, we become your ambassadors at that point. The training is kind of cool because it is an exclusive level of permaculture education from Haven Permaculture. So we will have guest speakers from time to time jump in to help out. Renee, my mom, she is the lead for the ambassadors program. So she's going to be the lead coordinator to guide everybody through this process. It's kind of her thing to connect with people. She's really good at it. A lot of you already have really high rapport with her. And so she'll be a big piece of that puzzle, and you'll meet with her pretty frequently. Now, as an ambassador, you also have access to TIAG. So if you're not already in the TIAG program, please reach out to Renee and she will get you the link so that you can join the TIAG community in the ambassadors sector. Inside there, as we're developing all of this content, you'll find this PDF you're seeing here on the screen. You'll also find more guides and directions to help you get some clarity in what the steps are that you can take. There will be a cloud folder for you to use for marketing material so that you can spread things around. And of course, just like the affiliate program, you get a 10% kickback on everything that you close as far as sales go for just supporting us and spreading the awareness. So this isn't an empty promise back and forth. We're not expecting you to go out and be an ambassador and spread the word and all this stuff. We want to give back in a big way. So we're giving back with the mentorship, we're giving back with the free membership, and then we're giving back with actual cash compensation. Now, the next level is the Haven Permaculture Collaborators. This is really cool, and this is something I'm really excited about. We've been collaborating with people in a big way. So what we do, if we feel like your business or your mission and motive, whatever it is that you're doing, or you as an individual have a skill set, all aligns with what we're trying to achieve with the vision of TIAG, Lulu's Garden and Haven Permaculture, we'll curate a very unique MOU. An MOU is basically a contract. It's a memorandum of understanding between us and you, and it explains how we're going to work with each other. It clarifies expectations. It marks down specific action steps in very good detail so that we can hone in on the exchange one between another on how we're going to collaborate. Now, collaboration can happen in a couple different ways. For example, one of the ways that we're collaborating right now is with an organization called the People Restored. The People Restored is a Utah-based organization, and they are focused in private membership communities, which is pretty much what TIAG is. But their focus for private membership communities is actually about legal protection more than anything. So they're going to help us through our MOU and collaboration with them curate the legal protection and the backing to support barter and trade within the TIAG communities so that there's no overhead, overarching government entity telling you you can't sell your surplus from your garden to your neighbor without the FDA's approval or whatever it may be. And so by doing this and working with them, we're going to be able to increase the level of barter and trade that we have in our communities. And TIAG communities are not just, we're not just in a digital space. This is real. Like we're literally physically developing real world communities, both in the existing sense and in putting up new communities. And I'll tell you about one we're about to put up today here in a minute. It was super exciting. It's probably the top piece of my that's on my mind lately. Really big project. But this is all just pieces of the puzzle. Okay, so there's more that we can get into. I'm not going to go too far into all the details, but the collaboration piece is a really important one because that allows your mission to move forward autonomously in whatever capacity. It also supports our mission to move forward autonomously. And so we're focusing on you, and your thing is yours. I don't want your thing to become mine and vice versa, but I do want to support it. And I do want my mission supported by other people as well, and vice versa. And so our team is basically a whole bunch of collaborators. Everybody that we work with, even Renee, I just mentioned that she's the ambassadors coordinator. She collaborates with us autonomously through an MOU. So everybody that we're working with is autonomous. And the reason we use autonomy in that way is because it protects you and what you're doing, and it protects us and what we're doing. So should one of us fail in this grand plan, it doesn't tear everybody else down. Or should somebody cross a line one with another and have a dispute of some kind, it doesn't affect the whole of us. And so we're not in the business of stomping on agency. We want to make sure that everything that we do builds and encourages agency. And so through the MOU program and the collaboration, we're not diving into binding contracts. We're diving into agreements on how we're going to support each other. So it's a totally different approach to business, and I'm very excited about that model. So reach out to us if there's something that you'd like to discuss in that capacity. Now, the Lulu's Garden affiliate program, just kind of going back here a little bit, is all about the link. It's about your link and your coupon code. That's pretty much what it is. It's very, very simple. There are some regulations. We don't want to see them posted in the wrong places, but ideally that's not something, that's a kind of a utopian idea to believe that we could control where those links go. So we just have some honor code here, and we hope that they don't go into the wrong places. And we hope that you'll honor our vision and mission as well. We are a religious organization. We do have a God in our work, and we speak about God openly. We are a family-centered organization, and so we don't blast ourselves all over cursing and going into directions that are contrary to our Christian beliefs. And so there's a lot of moral and ethical principle backed by what we're doing, or in what we're doing. And so we hope to see you reciprocate that as well. We don't control too much about the ins and outs of all of that, but we try to find people that want to be in that kind of a world and respect that kind of a space. Now, the TIAG Ambassador Program has a compensation model that varies depending on how you're getting involved with us, but generally across the board, it's 10% commission on everything. If you become an official TIAG ambassador who's also a collaborator, you can get up to 25% commission. And I'll explain more about that if you decide to enroll in that program and get involved at a higher level. Some of the collaboration that we're doing is up to 30%. And I just say that just so that you can hear that there's some custom unique agreements that we can come up with. if your work is something that we want to support and vice versa. But generally speaking, 10% across the board is the way that we run this, and we try to help families in a big way. So some of our programs, for example, like a design program might run $4,000 to get somebody in an urban level a full-scale permaculture design. If it's a rural level, we might bring in LiDAR and all these other pieces, and so it can become quite expensive. But if you're the ambassador that plugged that together to help that community or that family member, then we're able to compensate you with that. And so you might get a $400 or $1,000 paycheck out of that referral. And so our goal is to move this as fast as possible. And so we're doing that by word of mouth. And that's really the intention of the ambassador program. And so support you while you're supporting us. Now, when you're collaborating with us, you are collaborating through Haven Permaculture. The way that we formulate this is very much about the mission of havens across the country. And I say across the country because right now today we're going to be talking about the United States project. However, the ambassador program, the TIAG initiative, and all of these pieces of the puzzle are actually international. Our goal is the American continent. We say the independent American gardener because we're talking about the American continent, not because we're talking about the United States Americans. And so there's a little bit of a language shift there and a paradigm shift involved with that, but the concept is the American continent. Now, right now, today, we are trying to hone in a little bit on some of the details of what that looks like. But the vision for us, and just an overcap, is our vision for havens across the world is closed loop communities, closed loop family infrastructure. So you have the source, and you own the source of your food, your water, your shelter, and your surplus. And by owning the source, I mean that we've designed and helped you in any way that we can to integrate into your living structures and your boundaries of your property something that will produce that for you. And so whether or not you're outsourcing is totally up to you, but you shouldn't need to. It should be totally self-sufficient on a basic level. And I say self-sufficient because chances are, especially in an urban environment, it's going to be easier for you to reach sufficient than abundant. And so when we bring in the community piece, that's when we become abundant. That's when we really start to thrive as a whole. And so we want to see self-sufficient communities or self-sufficient properties, I mean, in the form of a haven, a safe place to come away from the world for every family, amongst abundant, independent communities. So there's a little bit of a kind of a mix and match in our language and how that runs across the table. But the idea here is that we're trying to close the loop on a property. So before I get into the next piece right here, I just covered like 18 things, I think, really quick. So just let me know if there's any questions. This is a good point to pause. So raise your hand if you want to ask a question or pose anything about what I just said before I move on to the next piece. Or you can just go ahead and unmute yourself too. That might be a little easier. Okay, doesn't look like there's any questions. So I'm going to screen share one more thing here. I'm actually multitasking. I'm developing a skill set. No. Okay. So there's one more cool thing that's happening right now, and this is, as I said before,
Tara said
probably the
she
most
can't
exciting
hear
piece
you
of this.
very well.
Oh,
She wants to know if there's, Tara says she can't hear you very well. She's wondering if you can raise up your volume.
I'm so glad that you said that. Can you hear me better?
Yes.
So it turns out I had my headphones plugged in and I've been talking while my headphones are over there through the microphone. That's awesome. Okay. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Is there a way to increase volume? Yeah. All right. We good? Okay. Awesome. All right. So this is a addition to the vision in a big way. And I'm going to screen share my computer here for just a moment and show you the Lulu's Garden webpage to walk you through this. Okay, so this is our central operating website right now. Some of the other websites are always in some kind of fluctuation and movement, but generally speaking, this one is up and running. Today, I've spent some time and over the last week curating some material for an upcoming project. How many of you, just I can kind of see all of you at the same time here. So raise your hands How many of you have heard of the Hub project? Bits and pieces. So the Independent American Gardener is a movement more than anything. Haven Permaculture is a secular organization based in the ideas of creating self-sufficient havens and closing the loop through permaculture design. And Lulu's Garden is another secular organization that is based more as a marketplace and a medium for e-commerce. Now, our collective vision through all of these organizations is to unify them in real world demonstration hubs that we're calling Haven hubs across the United States. We're going to do 3 of them. The first one is going to be in the Midwest, right here in northern Missouri. The next one is going to be in the Rocky Mountains, and then we're going to do one in Tennessee. And as it stands right now, the Tennessee and the Rocky Mountains is a little preliminary, just to bring that up, because that's not in the works right now. But what is in the works is the Northern Missouri Hub. So I'm going to take you over to here. Right when you're on the homepage of the website, at the top left of the navigation, you'll see Faith Havens Hub, a new tab. When you come in here, you'll start to see this first section develop a little bit. So I'm just going to scroll past that because it's not quite there yet. But the idea here is that we're about to launch a buy-in program for families to jump on board with the hub opportunity in both a business sense and an investment sense, but then also just for the sake of themselves, being able to learn and develop and see a permaculture demonstration in real time. So there's several pieces coming together to this, and I just want to walk you through this webpage so you can understand some of the content that's coming up. So our goal with the kickoff of this hub is to start it off with tiny home demonstrations. So we're going to do 10 tiny homes across the property that are completely self-contained. We're going to bring in gray water treatment. We're going to bring in a passive solar greenhouse on every single one of them. We're going to have a solar energy surplus available for operating them all off grid and being grid independent. And then we're going to tie them all together through universal technologies that allow us to leverage the kind of our own grid throughout the whole property so that we can keep them all at an operating level, self-sufficient. Now, to go a little bit further than that, the idea of a off-grid tiny home is very different in a lot of people's minds and what that looks like. And so I just threw some imagery on here today to help you understand what that is. How many of you are familiar with the idea of totally self-contained units, totally self-contained tiny homes? I think that's a really phenomenal model. Microgrids, I just talked to Rob Avis recently, and he said that he believes microgrids are the way of the future. And I totally concur with that. Microgrids in solar capacity anyways are super, super efficient. And I think one of the biggest pieces of the problem that we run into as a people is that we're trying to maximize our input all the time. We're just consuming, we're just consumers. And so we're trying to impact the lifestyle a little bit while also maximizing the production of a tiny unit. And so when we're developing these off-grid tiny homes, our goal is to create the example of what a microgrid would look like and close that in everything from your food, water, shelter to the surplus that the unit provides. Now we are going to rent out the unit as well. So we'll have 10 operating units on the property. And there's some more details on how to get involved here that I probably won't share today. But look for that in the members space for the TIAG sector in the TIAG, or for the ambassadors sector in the TIAG program. But as we have all 10 of these here operating, our goal is to have families come to us for the future events. So you've probably attended an event in the past, and the goal is to bring families to a central operating hub where we can now demonstrate real world, large scale permaculture implementation. So over the next 3 months of winter, 4 months, we're going to be designing this hub and an urban permaculture property while simultaneously walking everybody through that process on a seasonal basis. So we're going to start going from fall, winter, and summer and spring every single year, bringing in a new property every winter and developing both an urban and a rural scale property. For the launch of the Faith Havens Hub, it's going to be the first hub of its kind that I'm aware of that exists at this level and ties into what we're creating with the TIAG program. We're going to be demonstrating things like agroforestry, aquaculture, passive solar, geothermal greenhouses. We're going to have a closed loop village or community with the tiny homes, the Airbnb rentals, and then the on-site events and a Lulu's Garden on-site hut or on-site retail store where we're going to be able to produce a surplus with the locals and bring in all of the goodies that other families around the area are producing on their own properties and then offer them from the Lulu's Garden storefront physical building. So there's lots of big things happening there, but we're doing the launch of the Faith Gardens Hub at the same time as we're doing the launch of the Journey program, is what we're calling that. So as an ambassador, you have the ability to get a residual income on the pass I guess marketing or sharing of the Journey program. So every time that it's a subscription service, I should have said that. So every time that you offer this program to somebody else, what it's going to do is it's going to give you a monthly kickback that for every time that they're an active member and pay their subscription fee. Generally speaking, the idea is that we get families on board on a seasonal basis, on a 3-month basis, but we know that not everybody can afford larger numbers, and so we brought it down to a monthly basis for starting, and an annual basis for those that are all in and ready to go. And so as an ambassador, you're getting now a constant passive income stream. All you have to do is get somebody enrolled, and we'll do the rest from there. And we'll work with them live and in real time. So they'll be DIYing their property while we're building up our property. And we're going to be working together inside the TIAG community, sharing information and walking through the steps. Any questions on all of that? Go for it. Just go ahead and unmute yourself, Hope.
Okay. So are you looking for people to join in? Is the journey about the rural property and the urban property, or is it people, are you trying to find people that would be interested in having the 10 tiny homes and building that part of it, like doing kind of the development of the tiny homes in the community?
Yeah, so I skipped past that. That's the first section of the webpage here. When you come to it yourself, you'll see the very first section is the tiny home buy-in program.
Okay.
What we're doing with the tiny home buy-in program is separate from the Journey program. However, we are giving the Journey program to the buy-ins. And so there is some extra perks being a buy-in member, but those are separate things. So what we're doing with the Journey program is developing the property and walking people through it with us. So they're literally on the journey with us physically.
Excellent. Thank you.
I have a question too.
Okay.
I don't remember if we talked about this before or not, but how are we doing the Journey program for the ambassadors if they want to be a part of that?
So ambassadors will receive the Journey program for free because you're getting lifetime access to the TIAG program. So everything that we do inside of TIAG, we were offering from the start of this in January 2023 till now, we've been offering the lifetime package. And so those that enrolled with the lifetime package are grandfathered in for life for everything that we're doing in TIAG. Now, I've just personally been thinking about this a lot, and I've decided to make that the option of being grandfathered into all future improvements that we gave to enrollees also to ambassadors. And so our goal is, like I said before, is really just to support the ambassadors in a big way. And so we want to make sure that that's something that we're putting forward. And I feel like the Journey program is probably the best way that we can walk you through the development of your own property. Does that answer your question?
For me, yes, it answers my program. Thank you. I was thinking,
Okay.
I was thinking about, I was thinking about Tara too, that she might, there might be a confusion between which properties are being developed. So between like what you're saying with the tiny homes and then what you're saying with the urban and rural development. So explain just a little bit more in detail about how they're going to be able to do it on their property and how you're doing it on completely separate properties.
good point. So that's three different things happening simultaneously. Okay, so what we're doing is the Journey program is going to be developing the Faith Havens hub, the first of the three hubs in the United States, and that's a large scale acreage. Now the urban property is it's about a quarter acre. And so we're trying to tackle it from both sides so people that live in urban environments can understand the process that we're taking for the urban environment, and then the acreage so that large scale farmers can understand the process we're taking there with agroforestry. So food forests in the backyard and agroforestry in the back tied into all the infrastructure of the permaculture toolbox. And we're doing both of those simultaneously through the winter on design. Winter is kind of the season for design and education. And we do have two tiers for being involved at a winter level, and it may or may not be reciprocated for July, for June, I think, something like that, the summer season for design as well, because we actually partner with Verge Permaculture to offer PDC certification. And so members of the Journey program that want to have that high level certification and really get involved beyond the Journey certification, but into becoming a permaculture designer, can actually take that level two and get involved with the PDC, and that will certify them with that level there, and then they can actually work with Haven Permaculture as a designer. But that's aside from your question. To answer that more directly, the two hubs are part of, or two properties we're designing are part of the Journey program. The tiny home village that we're developing, this mock-up community of 10 units, it's not full-time living, but what it is 3 months out of the year for the owners that are that own the unit, the tiny house, and then the permaculture space around it will be actually designed in the Journey program as part of the Haven hub that we're going through. Does that make sense? So they're two separate things. Sounds like we're good there. Okay, Colton, did you have a question?
Yeah. So thanks, man. I appreciate you putting this together. Some good stuff. So earlier, kind of right when you started like the second section of the information, you went into some detail about each like operation of the three parts of Haven Permaculture, Lulu's Garden, and TIAG. So would you mind explaining just one more time like how you did and kind of tell us again how each of those like play their part toward the mission?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just give you kind of a brief summary. So Lulu's Garden kind of facilitates the mission for TIAG by supporting the surplus side of food, water, shelter, and surplus. So we're getting family businesses the support that they need through the commerce marketplace. So all the products you see in Lulu's Garden's website, this website right here, this is all something curated from another member. For example, there's an elderberry syrup we're offering right now. We're about to do a group buy with. And all the products that we get from families, they're autonomously doing their own thing. And so what we want to do, rather than doing piece by piece sales and cutting into their profits, because we are going to have to ask for a near wholesale price from them, what we're doing is group buys. So when we have a larger TIAG community, we can offer, say, something like 350 as the minimum for a group buy. And now we're able to send that family an order for 350 of whatever their product is all at once. And so they're getting we're getting a discount for our members. And so they're getting, all TIAG members get 10% off of that group buy. And that family is getting a huge order all at once that they get to push out. And so it's helping everybody around the table. So that's the Lulu's Garden piece. The Haven Permaculture piece is all about the havens and designing that and getting families the closed loop that they need to reduce expenses and increase their profitability, and then take the freedom of and agency of owning their own food, water, and shelter into their own hands. And so we'll facilitate the education, the instruction, the services, the mentorship, all the pieces that go into that puzzle. TIAG is kind of the branch that connects them all and kind of brings everybody into the unit of a community, and then helps to facilitate actually getting families involved one with another. And so should we ever become disconnected, everybody is still within their TIAG community, knows where to go for elderberry syrup, knows where to go for seeds, knows, all of the local community infrastructure that we're helping to facilitate is right there. And so should we ever be out of the puzzle and out of communication, or for whatever reason, they're totally self-sustaining. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. That confirms one of the notes I had taken here is about what you said, that it's self-sufficient with a family property, but then it's when there is a community that takes part in it on larger scales, it creates
Mhm.
that richer abundance where it's like there's just so much excess. So that's cool. I like how, thanks for clarifying that for me. All those points just really help me see how that they circulate and really are all for the grand mission, and also supporting one another to operate. That's pretty, that's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jamin, can I maybe just pipe in here a little bit
Sure.
to what Colton was saying? One of the ways in bridging that gap to increase the community is that each one of your communities, each one of your little havens are going to be such an example to your community. For instance, where I am, my home is called Serena House, and every time people come by and they see things growing, they're like, how do you do that? How are you growing that in Wyoming? Like, that doesn't happen. And then I'm able to tell them, oh, guess what? This is what I learned from my son, who's a permaculture designer. And, and I can share that with them, and then they get super excited. And then they're like, well, I want to try that on my property. And pretty soon you have all these different little, these families that are creating their own havens and their own permaculture design in their backyard. And like this last year when Jamin was teaching, and their family was going all across the country for a whole year and up into Canada, that's what they were teaching, was in places like Serena House. They came and they hosted events, and like Tara hosted an event, and Hope went to an event, um and Colton, you came here to our event, and everybody got to see what it meant to have a hands-on experience and learn about what is permaculture and how can that work for you to build your own food forest. And so a huge part of what Jamin is doing is about education. And I feel like that's like such a big deal, when
Yeah.
when all of us are examples of that, and then we can start helping. And so like what he's talking about with the PDC course, that's just amazing, because each person that decides they want to have a PDC certification themselves is going to raise that level of education that they have, so that they can even increase that with their community if they so choose. That's not a requirement, but if they so choose.
So if we had to summarize our vision here, it would be a food forest in every yard and a mentor in every home. And so just off of what you just said there, the PDC part is the mentor in every home. We want to see somebody helping to teach and instruct at a higher level in every single home that we can reach. And so that's an important part. Three of you in this meeting are in the current live PDC, or I'm sorry, two of you are in the live PDC. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, three. Yeah. And then one of you has already taken it. One of you is an event host. One of you is actually a speaker at some of these events as well. So there's a cool dynamic to the meeting right here. We have 32 ambassadors. And because of the scheduling mix up that we did here, totally my fault. I'll take the hit for that one. We ended up with just the 6 of us or 7 of us here. So when we're doing this repeatedly throughout the month, and we're coming back to the training pieces and bringing together more of the infrastructure, addressing more of these questions, you're all seeing the PDFs and the disclosures and the videos to guide you through this process. We're going to have basically client journey infographics and things like that, all built and curated to help the ambassadors as much as possible, make it as seamless and easy as possible. And so in the end, when all of this starts to pull together, my hope is that we start to get all of our ambassadors on board in these meetings so that they can see what you're seeing today. But let's continue here, because I got some more things I want to share with you. So our motive for the hub here, this is kind of where we're getting into more of the hub details. We're going to call the whole project as it's in itself a land regeneration effort. where we're at here in the northern Missouri, we're the hub is going to be in Daviess County, and it is in the heart of the Corn Belt. Everywhere from here to the west of us into the plains is just littered with corn and soy and really degenerative agriculture, lots of Roundup and things like that. And so we're helping to change all of that. We're going to bring a physical proof in the pudding kind of demonstration and show the local farmers in a big way, hey, this is what you can do. Here's agroforestry instead of rototilling your soy in, you know, here's how you can bring in quorum sensing with 7 universal crops that sync up in the soils and enhance the ecology instead of doing just clover, you know, like there's so many different steps that we can help them with. And so the way that my mentors taught me was, rather than teaching and telling and talking, do it and then just let them see. And so we're going to lead by example by creating this hub here and hopefully have a residual impact through the TIAG program. Now, this page that I'm showing you here, some of the links and things will take you to different places, but a lot of this doesn't have the links on it yet. So this is a developing page. You'll start to see, and I'll let everybody know when the links are ready. You'll start to see different pieces of how to get involved at a different level. The coolest thing about how we're doing the tiny home community is the buy-in project. So the buy-in project is going to happen in 2 ways. Number one, you can pay for the buy-in at $200,000. You'll own your tiny home, and we'll curate and build that. It'll be an Amish built tiny home for you, and it'll plug into our off-grid systems on the property. And as an owner of the tiny home, you're going to be getting a 30% commission off of the entire property rental pool. So even though you only own the 1 unit, you'll be tying into everybody else's rentals as well and getting an ROI on that. And so 30% of total property-wide rental commissions comes back to the owners of the tiny homes. Now the exit strategy that we've created for this, should there be a dispute with one of the owners on the property, or something goes south with, you know, let's say 5 years down the road, we decide we don't want to manage the tiny homes anymore and the business plan changes, whatever it may be, the benefit is that you simply take your tiny home. We'll ship it to you and your tiny home is yours. You own that outright, free and clear. And there's no legal discretion with the equity in the business or anything else on that level. And so you're getting a passive ROI while we're managing your rental unit for you. And owners are allowed to stay in the units for 3 months a year. So there is some variation in how we're going to bring that to the table and how we're going to make it work. But and frankly, I think that I might just kind of work with the owners a little bit more if somebody wanted to be on site a little bit longer than that for specific sectors of this investment. But the idea is that they would be paying their rental commissions at the point that they hit the 3-month mark, so that there's still funds moving through the pool. Now, the idea is that this is an investment long-term. So you're getting your off-grid tiny house and you're getting a passive income stream, while also being able to come to the property and stay in that unit for events, such as the annual fall festival at Paradise Springs, where we'll be teaching greenhouses and bringing families together. Tim here on the meeting is actually going to be a big piece of all of this. And he lives out here locally near me. And so you'll meet him and you'll be able to kind of walk through different pieces of the project with him personally and with me personally. And then we're actually going to live on site here and see this to fruition and build this out before we start the hub in the Rockies and some point in the future, vicariously. Now, as we get into, well, actually, is there any questions about the buy-in before I move on? Okay. We'll put together more of a brochure for that. As we get into the rest of the page here, this is what I said, there's some links that haven't been published yet. Every single one of these images is going to have a link to it. So as you're looking for PDFs or PowerPoints or videos that we've curated to help bring details to this discussion, this is going to be your resource page. So every single one of these, the off-grid tiny homes, the Tiny Havens community, all of the topics that we've discussed so far, and then all the way down into how you can get an understanding of what permaculture is in the first place. Both good content for you as an ambassador, but also for anybody that you're referring to the page is going to be able to come to the hub page, see these images here, click on the link to learn about the topic of interest. So all of these are elements of the hub. So Faith Havens will curate a demonstration on this topic live on the property. So everything from natural beekeeping to passive solar water heaters and geothermal greenhouses, right? So we'll bring all of this to sync. live and in person. Now, while we're moving through the transition here, the big piece that I want to make sure our ambassadors know is that there is a way for you to profit on the buy-in project. So if you're getting a referral for the buy-in project, you of course can be a part of the buy-in project for the property and get your own unit. But if you want to help spread the word and get a piece of that and move that mission forward and be the kind of bring the philanthropy to your community, you will receive 5% commission on the buy-in. And so I think if I did the math right, it's $10,000 payout for referrals for the buy-in project. And so our mission in doing this and bringing it forward can help facilitate a financial need for a lot of folks. And so we're not discriminating on who can and can't be a part of what we're trying to create. And we're trying to create a staircase, frankly, to bring people to a higher level of quality of life. And we're going to do it in real time, right alongside folks. And we're going to be working very closely with our ambassadors. And so we think of our ambassadors like family. We're not, I came to a lot of your homes and I've seen you all and I've met you. You know, there's other members that aren't here today that I've spoken face to face with, and we've built a little bit of a relationship. And over the last year and a half, while me and my family were on the road, it became a really important piece for us to connect personally and to go through the ebb and flow of what it is that we're trying to achieve and how it connects to your family's vision. And so while I'm just showing you all of this, and I'm just kind of tip of the iceberg here, we have so many things that are happening all simultaneously. So if there's something you want to get more involved with that I mentioned, just let me know and reach out and I'll give you more information about that particular subject and we can deep dive on that. If there's something that you know as an ambassador, you're like, hey, I need to talk to this person about it and you need material to talk to them about it, just reach out and we'll get you the information. As we start cranking things out, we'll put all of it into the TIAG community in the ambassadors file stream. And so if there's an ad marketing content or a PDF or something like that that you need, or a video, that's where you'll be able to find it. Now, that's pretty much all that I wanted to share with everybody tonight, just to kind of kick this off. But the piece that I'm going to do here, just to round it out, I want everybody to know how the forward meetings are going to work. So bi-weekly, we're going to have kind of a catch up or a community meeting between the ambassadors. So as the ambassadors grow, so will also those meetings. Now, monthly is when you get your ambassadors training. The training will happen inside the TIAG community, and that is exclusive to ambassadors. Now, we're about family and we want to support families, so our ambassadors are more than welcome to bring their spouses and bring your kids and get your immediate family involved with that training so that you can all learn together, because there's a synergy that happens when everybody in the same household is on page with the same movement, the same level of education. So we want to support that. But that's the monthly training. The bi-weekly training is where we're going to have more meetings like this. There will be more Q&A, more kind of open discussion. And then we'll hone down little by little on your marketing approaches, how you're getting the commission payouts, any Q&A you've had. If there's been something difficult that you've tried to figure out and it's a little bit too technical, and our software is just not to the point where it's an easy, well-oiled machine, then this is the kind of place that we'll hash that out and figure it out together. But that's pretty much it. So outside of that, is there any questions or topics we need to discuss right now?
I have a question. I think that it might be helpful for them to understand a little bit what we were talking about the other day about the actual price of the buy-in, where the 200,000 goes. Like, how does that work? What does that entail? And what are the people getting for that? Because like you said, a typical tiny home doesn't cost 200,000, it's less than that, but the extra is going for specific things. And so I think it's really important for them to understand that, so that if they decide to, spread the awareness of this, they can explain it to people that might question.
Totally. Yeah. So the ambassador program, or I'm sorry, the buy-in program is kind of for me, it's kind of the kick all together into one bucket and hand it to this family and say, here's everything we can give you for your success. If you could imagine everything that I just explained to you in education, in membership, in real world demonstration, in ROI, in ambassadorship, in affiliation, and in collaboration, all those pieces of the puzzle even permaculture design, we're going to bring into the buy-in project. We want to combine as much success as we can for the families that are taking the steps forward to be a part of this and be we call them change makers, the ones that take the initiative. And there's a powerful lesson behind the initiative, taking the initiative yourself and being willing to literally step forward into the unknown and leap. And that's really what brought my family through all the craziness that we've been through to touring the entire continent. And so there's just lots of big changes that come from that leap of faith. And so families that are willing to do that, we want to support in every way that we possibly can. So we bring everything together for the buy-in project. I will have a PDF and a video that describes this in more detail. The buy-in project isn't officially live yet. It's going to come out in, I think in the next week and a half. It's supposed to be by Wednesday. It's going to be live, and the enrollment will be there. And then all of the material and details on benefits of being an owner of the property program there will all be curated into one space. For now, I don't want to get into the details because they may or may not be solidified. Does that answer your question?
Does that help you guys? Okay. I do have one other question. We haven't really talked about this because of how busy we were today. But did you want to share anything about the Serena initiative? Or shall we plan another time to talk about that?
Yeah, let's bring that to let's bring, so I'll let everybody know here. There's one of the big pieces of TIAG is the initiative concept, like I just said. And so we have several initiatives that we're working on that are invitations for people to step up and do this. With every initiative invitation, there comes a set of perks of being involved with it. And so it's sort of our way of incentivizing families and people to get involved, but it's also our way of saying, look, this is a good work that needs to move forward in the world, and this is our mission and motive that we see attached to it. And if it resonates with you and your mission and motive, then come get involved, and this is our invitation for you. And so we have the Haven Initiative, we have the Serena House Initiative, we have the TIAG Initiative. There's lots of different ways that we're curating things. The Serena House Initiative is something that we've created just kind of recently in order to support a really time-sensitive project. I don't want to get into the details here today, but look for that because it's going to be coming up in the next week. You'll probably get information on that before Friday. That is something that is time sensitive. It is something that we're trying to curate quickly, and it actually has a change of plans associated with it if we don't meet our goal in time. It is mostly my mom's project, but we're spearheading the support side of it through TIAG as making it an initiative on our part. And there's a big vision associated with that as well. So we'll get more details this week for you on that.
Yeah.
Is everybody here in the TIAG platform? Raise your hand if you're in TIAG. Okay. Have you, if you haven't been in there recently, then when you do jump back in there, you'll start to see that there's a whole new set of spaces available. We're still curating a lot of the material, and so you'll click on something and there might not be anything in there, but you'll see over the next 30 days, you're going to see a ton of material moving through there and a lot of changes and notifications and stuff. And so check back in there every couple of days and you'll see updates. And then if there's an area in there that we got you involved and you jumped into it and you got questions about it, ask in that space, because one of our team members that's over that space will be able to address it with you quickly. If you kind of wait for one of us outside or in the Telegram channel or something like that, it might get kind of lost in all the crazy amount of things that we're involved with. And so be more directed by asking in the space there. Other than that, I think we're pretty square. That's probably an overload of information already. So look for material. Is there any last questions before we go ahead and call it an evening?
I have one more. Do you remember we talked just a little bit about the group buys for the seeds? And I just wanted to find out, one of the things that you guys can participate in as ambassadors is to be able to help us find host families that are willing to host a group buy for the non-GMO heirloom garden seeds. And this is really important because people need to have good seed that they can plant for their food forest. And so with that, we have a goal. I had this goal for a while by myself, and then Jamin and I kind of joined together, and now it's our goal to help 5,000 families get these seeds so that they can produce the good food that they need on their property. And we'd love to have help spreading that and being able to find host families that would like to take on that group buy. And so my thought is I would just like to know how many of you guys are interested in knowing how that works and how you can get a commission from doing that, and how we help families get involved, and how the families are earning their own seeds by sharing with their communities. And if you guys are interested in that, I would love to have a little class where we teach you how to do that. I've been doing the seeds for 14 years. And in 2020, I just had this thought came to my mind that if we could do it slightly differently, rather than me doing a group buy 3 to 4 times a year, if we added hosts families and asked them to start inviting their community, that we could help more people. And between 2020 and 2021, we helped over 2,500 people get these seeds, I'm sorry, not people, families, over 2,500 families. And we did 17 group buys between that time period. And so it was super awesome. And now is the perfect time to begin doing that again, because people are done with summer, their kids are back in school, people are starting to think about, oh, what do they want to do next? And so it's a good time. So I'd love to know if that's something that interests you, because if it is, then we will plan a time to do a training so that you guys can get involved with that and see how simple it is. And you guys don't have to do any of the shipping or anything. It's all drop shipped to the families, so it makes it pretty easy, and how we can help other families in that avenue. So are any of you guys interested in that? If you want to find out more information, raise your hand. Awesome. Okay, wonderful. Then we'll reach out to those of you that said you were interested, and Jamin and I will figure out a good time to plan for that training.
So jump into the TIAG Telegram chat and the ambassadors Telegram chat in the next 2 days, and you'll see a link in there for the next webinar that we're going to do. It's going to be very similar to this one here, and it'll probably be scheduled 2 weeks out, give or take. The idea is that this kind of information comes forward bi-weekly, bits and pieces of it, because there's just a lot to go over. But all of it will be put into the TIAG space and community there for you. So you'll be able to see it all and rehearse it on your own time freely there, and ask questions if you have anything specific that you want to know. But the training next on the next ambassadors meeting is going to be on group buys and the tiny home project. So those two pieces of the puzzle will come out in the next meeting. So other than that, we've been here for an hour. Let's go ahead and get everybody back to their evenings. Thank you so much for being here and for jumping on despite the crazy last minute shift on the schedule. And then as we get into the Telegram channel in there, one more piece is I'm going to put in a what do they call it? A poll to find out how many of our ambassadors are actually inside the bright spaces that they need to be. So you'll see some uploads in there tonight and then into tomorrow. Please go in there and answer those so that I know that you personally made it where you're supposed to be, and that we can curate that, because we have been having a ton of problems with email. My personal email had a TXT error on the back end of the host, and then we had a bunch of other problems with actually sending out support team emails as well, and so people aren't getting our contact. So jump into there and answer that for us so that we can make sure that we're getting you where we need you. Other than that, have a wonderful night. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you soon.